All right, welcome back, everybody. This is Mr. Prater here. We're going to continue talking about the founding documents of the United States. Now we're going to talk about the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights, of course, are the first 10 amendments of the Constitution. They protect us from an unjust government. All right, we still use these 10 amendments today, and we often see instances where, just this past summer, with all of the protests all over the country, we saw a lot of these amendments come into question. So very, very interesting stuff. The Bill of Rights are important because obviously there are individual freedoms. The first 10 amendments do protect us. The 13th, 14th, and 15th amendments were added to help protect all people after the Civil War. The 13th amendment actually freed the slaves. The 14th Amendment made all people born in the United States citizens. And the 15th Amendment made all males eligible to vote. Okay, so free citizens can vote. Now let's talk about some of the amendments, okay? We'll move right into the First Amendment. The first thing you think about is freedom of speech, but also freedom of the press, petition, right, for peaceful assembly and expression. The Second Amendment, the right to have bear arms. No, I'm just kidding. The right to bear arms, all right? So to be able to have weapons in your possession. The Third Amendment, which isn't necessarily that relevant these days, but it is the right to refuse to house soldiers in your home. The Fourth Amendment, no home searches or property seizures without a warrant from a judge. The Fifth Amendment, the rights of the accused. Anyone accused of committing a crime is considered innocent until proven guilty. No one's life, liberty, or property can be taken away from them without due process of the law. The Sixth Amendment is the right to a fair and speedy trial. The Seventh Amendment guarantees Americans to receive a jury trial for civil cases over property worth more than $20. The Eighth Amendment prohibits bail or excessive bail, fines, and cruel and unusual punishment. Okay, so obviously if you steal something and I decide that the proper punishment is to chop off your hand, that is cruel and unusual. If you are caught jaywalking and I issue a fine for $1 million, that would be considered unusual. All right. So let's move on to the Ninth Amendment. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky, but I don't want to lose you here. This amendment states that the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights does not state every single right a person has. Okay. People also have some other fundamental rights to be treated as a decent person. So in this example here, it says you're not allowed to fly a plane, but yes, I am. The Constitution says that even though it doesn't directly say it, I can fly a plane. You can fly a plane, you can walk across the street, you can chew bubble gum, you can do all those things. And that's what we're talking about with the Ninth Amendment. The 10th Amendment says that states have rights as well. They are reserved powers that are listed for the states. Now, here's the thing. This sort of ties into federalism, but one of the things that's controlled by the states is education. The federal government does not control the education that you get. The state of Texas does. So, that being said, we've talked about all 10 amendments now. We talked about the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, and there will be an opportunity to practice that later on in this lesson. Now, I want to switch gears and talk about the 5 American values and a gentleman by the name of Alexis de Tocqueville. He is right here. Nice French guy. He was the first to come up with, and go figure, it was a French guy. He's the first to come up with the American dream idea. He was quoted as saying, "America is great because she is good. If America ceases to be good, America will cease to be great." Now, Tocqueville did some studying in the United States. Basically, he came over and just observed what made America America. And he came up with 5 values that were crucial to America's success as a constitutional republic. Those were liberty, egalitarianism, individualism, populism, and laissez-faire. We'll go into those definitions here in just a few minutes. Okay. One thing about his research, he had a lot of first-hand information. He used a lot of primary sources. Okay. Secondary sources are those taken from that take information from first-hand accounts and retell the story. For example, a textbook, things like that. So most of what Tocqueville was able to acquire was primary sources. Okay. So, what made America different from other countries when it was founded? Well, here are some of his findings. Like I said before, he traveled through America in the early 1830s, and he observed the American way and its government in action, and he wrote a book because of that called Democracy in America, about the strengths and the weaknesses of our government. The 5 values that he came across, okay, that sort of said why America was successful at the time. Liberty, so freedom from arbitrary government control. You had the freedom to do with as you pleased, and the government wasn't going to really get in your way. Egalitarianism, this belief in equality. So when you see the word egalitarianism, just look at egal, and that very much looks similar to equal, all right? There's no permanent class structure like you would see in countries such as India, okay? Individualism. People are free to pursue their own individual goals, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Populism. Okay, this idea of appealing to ordinary people. That's how people get elected to office, right? They want to appeal to ordinary people so they can become leaders. And then laissez-faire. Okay, the idea that the government is hands off. Okay, lazy government. When you see laissez-faire, you'll think lazy government. So what do each of these ideas really mean? So if we break it down into very simple terms, we have liberty meaning freedom, egalitarianism meaning equal, individualism, equaling opportunity for people, populism, okay, ties directly into democracy and the people, and then laissez-faire, this notion of hands-off government or lazy government. So in your next folder, you will complete one of the documents that are listed there. It's a CAMI file, and you will identify the 5 values through the lens of history. You will have 7 documents that you will need to identify, and each one of them will have a corresponding value that Tocqueville listed. So one of the 5 values here will go on one of those 7 slides. Liberty, egalitarianism, individualism, populism, or laissez-faire. If you have any questions, by all means, please reach out to us. Thank you very much. I hope you have a good day.